おい、なんだあれ。
よう。
なんだお前。
俺はこの荒野を根城にするハイエナ、ヤムチャってもんだ。
僕はプーアルだぞ。
Yamcha, probably one of, if not the most disliked character in the entire franchise. He often gets criticized for his cowardice and uselessness as the story progresses. So today I want to take a deep dive into this character and explore why I think he's a tragic hero who really just has the worst luck and doesn't deserve the hate he receives. We first meet Yamcha very early on in the series. He's a bandit who roams the land with his trusty and adorable sidekick Puar. One day they come across Goku and Bulma and attempt to steal any cash and capsules they have. Goku stands up for them, and unfortunately for Goku, he's very hungry, therefore he's in a weakened state. Yamcha gets the best of him. However, upon the sight of Bulma, Yamcha gets scared and they have to flee. However, he decides to pursue them. We of course get the hilarious moment where he sees Bulma in the shower, pretty funny moment, but he also overhears everything about the Dragon Balls and becomes surprised, like this is a great opportunity. If he can get the Dragon Balls, he can make a wish to overcome his fear of women and fulfill his dream of getting married. I think this is important insight into his character. We weren't sure what to make of him. Is he just an antagonist for Goku? But the fact that that's all he really cares about is love makes him a very sweet character.
聞いたか、今の話。はい。どんな願いも叶うと言ったな。
確か
に。よーし、俺は女の前に行っても上がらないようにしてもらうぞ。
So now Goku and Yamcha have their rematch. This time Goku is not hungry, and he gets the best of Yamcha, even knocking one of his teeth out. Yamcha backs off and realizes his best course of action is to just let Goku and Bulma continue their search for the Dragon Balls and swoop in at the last minute to get his wish. Now, we then get to the moment, of course, where we meet Yumao, Ox King, and Yamcha has again the hilarious moment where he meets Chi-Chi to, for his credit, I guess you could say, he doesn't do anything aggressive in the beginning. She gets scared of him and attacks him. He defends himself and knocks her out. Of course, he then learns who she is and has to make up for it by telling her, it's because he loves her so much. That's why he attacked her. He couldn't control himself. Pretty hysterical moment there, but he then decides to just keep hanging back and listening in what's happening. And then, of course, he sees Goku learns the Kamehameha, and furthermore, he's friends with Kame-Sennin. This is really important here he knows who Gyumao is, he knows who Kame-Sennin is. We're also seeing that Yamcha has a lot of knowledge of the famous martial artists in the world, which we will learn that another thing he really would love to do one day is to compete in the Budokai, right? The Tenkaichi Budokai. So this is more insight into who he is. He is at heart also almost like, as you could say, a wannabe martial artist. He's not a martial artist yet, but he really wants to be a martial artist. So he then gets jealous when Kame-Sennin invites Goku to train with him.
どうも。こいつはい。おっとろしいガキだ。サプある。俺たちもフライパン山に行くぜ。飛んだところで時間食っちまった。
にしてもヤムチャ様、女の子でもああいう子なら平気なんですね。
ああ、俺はロリコンじゃないからな。
Yamcha continues his pursuit of Goku, Bulma, and Oolong, and they all get captured by Pilaf. They have to now work together. But when Goku becomes Ozaru, the giant ape, he starts destroying everything. Bulma's knocked down at one point and might even be killed, so Yamcha has to overcome his fears and save her, which he does. The next morning, both Bulma and Yamcha kind of realize, wow, we didn't get our wishes, but, we both want love. And when they realize, hey, you and I want the same thing, they're about the same age, why not give it a shot? So they basically are going to be a couple. It's kind of cute. Goku goes off to train with Kame Sennin, and the two of them go to live happily ever after. This is the last we'll see of Yamcha until the tournament. The next time we see Yamcha is at the Tenkaichi Budokai. In the anime, we're given a short scene of him training. But anyway, in the manga, we just go right to the tournament. Now, there's the qualifier first, and he shows that in a short amount of time, he made remarkable progress, all on his own nonetheless. Goku and Kuririn just spent all this time training with the legendary Kame Sennin. He did it on his own. I think that's pretty remarkable. But unfortunately, and again, his bad luck continues to shine, is his first opponent's Jackie Chun, Kame Sennin in disguise. He's outmatched, of course he is. There was no way in hell he was winning this match. But an interesting thing here is he is the only one who figures out who he is. Whereas Goku, Kuririn, and even Bulma, nobody really picked up on who he was. Yamcha, right from the get-go, is like, hey, this is Jackie Chun is Kame Sennin. Like, he kind of figures it out. And I just think that's a really interesting thing. One more point here is he is now sidelined for the rest of this, so he's mostly just cheering for everybody. But one thing I really liked about this story was there's a small moment here where he meets Kuririn for the first time. Goku introduces him, like, yeah, we trained together. He is really quick to, just accept Kuririn. And I think that, of course, he gets that from Goku. Goku and Yamcha were at odds at first, but Goku immediately accepted Yamcha. As soon as Yamcha did his, turned a new leaf, Goku was just like, hey, we're friends now. It's like that easy for Goku to do that. And then Yamcha kind of shows this as the series progresses. Every time there's someone who maybe is at odds with them, when that person joins, he's very quick to accept that person, with some exceptions, but we can talk about those later.
Goku はまだまだ強くなるぞ。俺たち次の天下一武道会で優勝しようと思ったら、わずかばかりの修行では歯が立ちませんね。そういうことじゃ。ちょっと前まではほとんど互角だったのにな。残り一つのドラゴンボール探しは俺も一緒についていって修行してみるか。
Yamcha is basically absent from the Red Ribbon story arc, but he appears at the end when they all go to meet Goku. They need to find the last Dragon Ball, so they go to Uranai Baba. Yamcha joins Goku as one of his fighters to fight against her fighters. And he fights against the Invisible Man. Now, he has a few good moments here where he shows maybe he can do it, but of course, being unable to see the opponent, he can't do it. Kuririn comes up with the ingenious idea how they can win, and Yamcha then moves on to the next opponent. Unfortunately for Yamcha, the next opponent's just too much for him and he can't beat him. After the Uranai Baba stuff, we'll of course meet him again at the next tournament. And the next tournament is a biggie.
Ita は打ち返してこないからな。
貴様もな、打ち返してくる前に勝負はついているぜ。それでは始めてください。亀仙流がどの程度のものなのか、とくと拝見させてもらうぜ。死ね
3 years later, we meet back up at the Tenkaichi Budokai. This time Yamcha has trained with Kame Sennin and has made significant growth. We meet Tenshinhan and Chaozu for the first time, and immediately Tenshinhan and Yamcha are just at odds, throwing insults at each other. Tenshinhan saying how he's going to quickly dispose of him. And Yamcha's bad luck continues because they're paired against each other right in the first round. Now, Yamcha does show off that he's gotten really good. He can even do Kamehameha. Like, he's gotten really good, but Tenshinhan is just a beast at this point, and Yamcha can't win. Tenshinhan goes as far as to breaking Yamcha's leg, sending him to the hospital. For the rest of the tournament, Yamcha has to listen on the radio. Now, at the end of this tournament, Tenshinhan wins barely against Goku, and he turns his back on the Crane Hermit, Tsurusenin, and Yamcha is the first one to give the big clap. Yamcha's there on his crutch, and he starts clapping because he sees that Tenshinhan has changed his ways already. And again, it's just another one of those moments where, like I said before, how now Yamcha's willing to accept these people much quicker. He sees, he saw that Tenshinhan was this conflicted guy, and the fact that he's willing to now see the error of his ways, Yamcha embraces that, and those two end up becoming really close friends for the rest of the series. In the King Piccolo arc, Yamcha's still recovering from his broken leg and therefore pretty much absent from the story. In the anime, we're giving a filler scene. In my top 10 filler scenes video, you can see this, where of course Tambourine comes to kill Yamcha, being one of the martial arts in the world. However, he doesn't do anything else in this story arc. At the very end of this story, when the Dragon Balls are brought back by Kami-sama, there is an excellent Yamcha moment here. Bulma and them are ready to wish back their friends who have been killed by King Piccolo. And Yamcha stops them and says, no, wish back everyone that King Piccolo and his army killed. I mean, of course, this is going to be a wish we'll see done in the future many times when catastrophes happen and hundreds of thousands of people die in the world. But Yamcha is the one who kind of stops them to say, no, let's bring back everybody who died. And I just think that's one of those great Yamcha moments where he deserves a lot of credit for that. So at the next Tenkaichi Budokai, Yamcha's luck just continues to be terrible. He has gotten even stronger though. He's made it to Karin's tower and, he's gotten much stronger. But his first opponent is Shen, who of course is Kami-sama in disguise. And therefore Yamcha has no hope of winning this match. So basically that's Yamcha in a nutshell, is he just cannot catch a break, this guy. 5 years later, we're at this moment in the story where this will be basically the final moment to shine for most of the Earthlings in the story. And of course, Yamcha's recruited to help fight against Nappa and Vegeta, who are on their way to Earth. He is now invited to go up to train with Kami-sama, which is something that Goku got to do, several years earlier. This is a great opportunity. So of course, he, Tenshinhan, Chaozu, Kuririn, and even Yajirobe, they're all training with Kami-sama. This is just a really great moment for him. Now, when the fight begins, Yamcha arrives, and I think something really great here, I mean, the same could be said for Tenshinhan and all that, is how quickly they arrive. Piccolo is there. The last time they saw Piccolo was 5 years ago, and, he was evil. But they go there, Piccolo's there with Gohan and Kuririn, and they're just like, all right, let's get to it. And again, it's just one of those wonderful things about the heroes in this story is how quick they are able to accept those who, turn a new leaf. Even if Piccolo at this moment wasn't fully redeemed yet, hey, Piccolo's there to help defend the Earth. That's enough for them to be like, yo, let's go. Let's just do it. When the fighting begins, of course, Tenshinhan fights against the Cyberman first, and he wins easily. Tenshinhan's an absolute beast, and Vegeta kills the Cyberman. Just shoots him, breaks him to pieces, and then warns the rest that failure is not an option, and, gives them that warning. Kuririn decides he wants to show off his training, he wants to go next, but Yamcha stops him, and this is why this video exists right now, is why Yamcha is such a great character. Yamcha stops Kuririn, not because he wants a chance to shine, no. He says, Kuririn, you've already been revived once by the Dragon Balls. You can't be revived if you die again. Let me go. If something basically, if something happens, bring me back. But the fact that Yamcha was willing to take that risk, knowing that there could be a chance he dies here, but if Kuririn died, he couldn't come back. Wonderful character. This is why Yamcha's a wonderful character. Yamcha goes in and he is awesome in this scene. And this is one of those this is probably the last time we'll ever see Yamcha be awesome, technically. But Yamcha kicks the crap out of the Cyberman and wins. He legit wins this fight. The Cyberman, knowing that failure is not an option, that the fact that Cyberman is still alive, if it were to get up, Vegeta would kill it because it failed, decides the only thing left is to just jump onto Yamcha and try to blow up and kill both of them, and it does. This is a pretty depressing moment. Now, it is different in the anime and the manga, which I have mentioned in a few videos already, but basically, in the manga, Bulma and the rest are not watching this. We don't ever see their reactions to people dying, etc. They have no idea what's happening, actually. It's pretty harder to imagine, especially for the character like Chi-Chi and stuff like that they know this big battle to save the world is happening, but they don't know what's happening. In the manga, at the end of everything, they go, and then Bulma has to know that Yamcha dies. It's pretty depressing, actually. She gets there, like, where's Yamcha? And, they're all dead at this point, except for, Goku, Kuririn, Gohan. But in the anime, we can talk about that. In the anime, of course, they're watching the fight on TV. And, of course, Yamcha dying, Bulma is hit hard by that. Of course, these two had this on and off relationship for, long time now, probably like 10 years now. And it's a shocking moment. So, like, say what you will about the character of Yamcha, this is the first time he dies. And therefore, anytime a character dies in Dragon Ball, even if they can be brought back, it's like, oh my God. And this story is probably, one of my favorite stories in the original series of, the original manga. And we start seeing them all go down, but like they all start dropping like flies, the heroes. And it's pretty shocking stuff. So Yamcha dying for me is like one of those, oh my God. And, he dies in like a really sad way. This is a lot of times played for memes and stuff. There's actually a t-shirt, if you can see here. There's a t-shirt of Yamcha dead from the explosion. And there's, I believe, a card in Dokkan Battle of this. It's kind of just like a joke of, Yamcha dying to the Cyberman. But honestly, think about it. Anyone in that situation could have done that. If Yamcha had gone first, Vegeta shoots the Cyberman, and Tenshinhan went second, there's a high chance Tenshinhan would have died. Or if Kuririn just did go after Tenshinhan, the same thing would have happened. So as much as people want to make fun of Yamcha, this would have happened to anyone who followed that first fight with Vegeta's warning of you cannot fail. So just for his credit, I wanted to point that out.
今度はお前たちが栽培マンを甘く見たようだな。何？しまった！
We get a brief moment in the manga, which in the anime is expanded upon too much. And that is, of course, Kaio-sama telling Goku, hey, guess what? Some of your friends are here training with me. And then, of course, we see Yamcha, Piccolo, Tenshinhan, and Chaozu are all training with him. He says they got here much quicker than you did as well. Again, considering their power levels when they died, they were much stronger than Goku was when he died. Now, of course, we don't see them in the manga until the very end of the story arc when they're all brought back. But in the anime, we get a lot of filler, and they're basically commentators for the entire Frieza stuff. So while they're fighting Frieza, they'll bounce back to, Kaio-sama, and they'll be like, what's happening? What's happening? They're giving their thoughts and everything. It's a little overdone, but they even fight against the Ginyu Force at one point, which never happens here, but it's just another filler moment. Now, the last thing I want to point out here is the amount of time they trained with Kaio-sama. So Goku trained there about 5 months, as did Yamcha, believe it or not. So Yamcha also trained about 5 months and was stronger than Goku was when he arrived, meaning Yamcha would be significantly strong when he comes back. Tenshinhan and Chaozu trained there for 9 months, actually, which is insane. So that's a really long time. They're pretty strong, but when you think of, let's say, okay, at the best, Yamcha and the rest are anywhere between 88,000 to 100,000, maybe, rough, give or take, about this point. That still means that Frieza and everybody would still be miles and miles and miles ahead of their powers. So unfortunately, this is why the humans gradually kind of fade out into the story. It's not their fault. It's just the threats get bigger, and they're not Saiyans, so they can't, get crazy strong as fast. Another few years go by and the androids arrive. Filler aside, we do know in the manga that Yamcha stayed at Capsule Corp and just, trained alongside, on his own while Vegeta was doing his training. And of course, all the stuff we know that happens is with Vegeta and Bulma, which is shown in filler, but not in the manga, that they'll eventually, get together. This is really just sucky because, Yamcha got brought back to life and we thought they were going to end up together, Bulma and Yamcha. And then, of course, the big surprise, when Trunks arrives and it's like, hey, I'm the child of Vegeta and Bulma. And, everyone, whether you're reading the manga for the first time or watching the anime for the first time, you go, wait, what? Even Goku has that surprise because, who would have thought? It's kind of sucky for Yamcha, though. The guy who is responsible for your death in a way, he comes and lives with everybody there and then takes your girl away. It's just, it's sad. But the fact that Yamcha still shows up says a lot about who he is. And yeah, he has the unfortunate luck of running into the androids first, nearly getting killed, actually. So when Goku's heart disease hits him on the battlefield and he needs to be taken home to get his medicine, Yamcha volunteers. He's like, yo, I'll take him back. Let's not forget that Yamcha and Goku's connection here. Yamcha's not dumb. So you can say what he will, oh, it's because Yamcha, wants to get away from the battle. Whatever. What the hell is he going to do? He literally had firsthand experience after getting impaled that, yeah, I can't do shit. And therefore, for anyone who wants to make fun of him for that, yeah, but he can't do anything, so why should he stay there anyway? Instead, what he decides to do is, I'm going to do my part the best I can, and I'm going to take my friend home and get him his medicine so he can get better, and I'll stay there and watch over him. That alone is what a friend could do for you. You know what I mean? He might not be able to stay on the battlefield and fight, but he's going to be at his friend's side and make sure that he gets better. That's awesome, and that's why Yamcha's awesome.
このまま何もしないで死を待つというのは俺の性分じゃないんだ。
それが武道家の誇りと言いたいんだろう。
そうだ。ダメでもともと。それでも前向きでいたい。
クリリン、トランクスを頼む。
ヤムチャさんまで。
行くぞ。
When the Cell stuff happens, Yamcha's pretty much sidelined for this, but pretty much everybody is. Even Vegeta gets sidelined at the Cell games. In the anime, Yamcha's shown as one of, everybody trying to shoot Cell to help Gohan. For those, I don't know how many of you actually read the manga, and, some people I know just watch the anime. In the manga, only Vegeta shoots Cell to help, and then Gohan wins. No one jumps in to help, and not because they couldn't, it's just the manga's much faster paced. Hence why you should read the manga. But Yamcha still has his moments, same in the anime and the manga, where the exhausted Gohan, he's the one who carries him. He picks him up and then, they carries him up to Kami's lookout. And I just think, cute little moment there. Now in the Buu saga, he doesn't do anything. He's retired. He even dresses casually. He doesn't dress in martial arts attire anymore. Who in their right mind could blame him? Kuririn's the same. Kuririn doesn't really dress in his orange gi anymore. The human characters are pretty much done. Tenshinhan even retires officially at the end of the Cell games when he says, you guys probably will never see me again. Have a good life. And I think Toriyama was doing this on purpose. The humans were done. Why even have them join the battles anymore? It was more comedic than anything else. That okay, every time Yamcha joins, he's going to get either nearly killed or killed. Same with Tenshinhan and Kuririn. They can't do anything against these new level, higher level threats. So having Yamcha just be supporter, he's there. He's the one, he's driving the plane as they're going to see what happened with Vegeta. He's there supporting, in the anime, especially, Chi-Chi's all worried. He's like, hey, don't worry. That's all he is at this point. He's just part of the gang. He's a friend. Even in Super, Bulma has her birthday party right at the beginning, in Kami to Kami or in Super itself. And, we see Bulma invites Yamcha to her affairs. The fact that those two remain close over the years says a lot. And regardless if they had this on and off relationship and in the end she ended up with somebody else, they had known each other since they were 16 years old. I mean, so that's a long friendship, if anything else. And Yamcha staying close with them, I just think is really nice. So at the end of the day, basically what I'm trying to get across to everybody is Yamcha's just a stand-up guy. You know what I mean? All the jokes and the memes aside, yeah, he might not be strong as everybody else, but most of the characters are not going to be as strong as Goku and Vegeta. Therefore, Yamcha is just who he is what I want everybody to look at. Make your jokes about him. That's cool. You can make jokes about everybody in the show, to be honest. But at the end of the day, Yamcha's a really good guy. And that's just who he is.
は見せずにガッツで勝負俺はいつでもマイスガイ人全開カボな気分明日を目指して突っ走る愛の約束したいけどリボン結びじゃ働く弱すぎるのさ近寄らないで言ってくれよ君の全てが好きだからローリーウルフ空の彼方へ俺の世界が燃え上がる
So I hope you enjoyed this new deep dive. If there are any characters you want to hear me talk about, drop a comment down below. The next video coming is a top 10, but it's quite a unique top 10, so please check that one out. As always, like, subscribe, and share, and see you soon.